Hey everybody, it's Sherry, and I'm back with the Legend Actually podcast. If you're new, welcome. If you like what we do over here, we talk about reality shows, we recap and review, and all things pop culture. And if you like our content, I'm going to ask you to hit the like button. And then, if you haven't already, what are you waiting for? Hit the subscriber button. And so that you can make sure that you're the first to get this good old content, hit the notification bell. And while you're at it, share with your friends and family. So guys, as you all know that our actualizers, our good old subscriber family, that today is Married to Medicine Monday. And so I'm going to talk about the reunion. It was part 2. But before I get into that, I hope you guys had a good weekend. I was going to tell you a little bit about mine. So this weekend, we had here in Eastern North Carolina, Jacksonville, North Carolina's FTM Fashion Week. Shout out to LaToya Scott, who was the organizer, the visionary of this event. This has been going on for, probably about season 11. Yeah, so 11 years, season 11. And so the host was none other than the phenomenal Vivica A. Fox. And one of the models in that show was none other than the fierce Cadence Lynette, who just happens to be yours truly's niece. Yes, I was a very proud auntie this weekend. She will be modeling in New York Fashion Week. You heard it here first, honey. Get into it. Take a look. Yes, she is stunning. She will be gracing the runways of New York Fashion Week and many others, and probably on the cover of many of those fashion magazines. So you got a chance to check her out here first. Shout out to Cadence Lynette. All right. So guys, I don't know. Did you guys watch? So the second part, I think, was a lot better than the first part. We get into a little bit more of the meat. We started off with where Quad is basically, child, I say Quad was on an apology tour, okay? And I'm not saying that she didn't need to be because, well, we talked about it. The girls just aren't feeling her this season. And as part 1 closed, we know that she had approached Jackie because she wanted Jackie to know that she had nothing to do with the resurfacing of the Live with Dr. Heavenly, where Dr. Jackie made those disparaging remarks about Black women and how they act during pregnancy, saying they complain a lot so that when there's something serious, doctors don't take us serious. And she since then profusely apologized. I think they could have given that a little more airtime in part 1, but I'm going to digress because that was in part 1. And Andy let her off the hook. She said she was sorry. And so we're moving on from that. But so in part 2, we see the next part of that conversation where Quad is approaching Jackie. And they talk about the lack of responsiveness from Quad. Jackie, ask her about the fact that, when she has been reached out to via text or phone call, that Quad is notorious for not responding to the ladies. And so Quad acknowledged that and apologized and said that, she wanted to do better, wanted things to get better between them and their friendship. And they both agreed that they would like to salvage their friendship and work on it. And so she doesn't just stop with Dr. Jackie, honey. No. They had taken a break at this point. So she goes by Dr. Simone's dressing room. And she comes in and says that she feels like they have more to discuss because, as you recall, and I wasn't so happy, and I know a lot of you out there were not happy with Dr. Simone when Quad repeatedly said no, like she didn't want to discuss the death of her great niece, which happened in her pool with the just horribly unfortunate accident. She drowned in her pool. And I mean, of course, who would want to relive and talk about that? But they are on a reality show. But still, I just thought it was very mean-spirited of Dr. Simone when she asked her repeatedly not to go there. However, she did. And so Quad comes in and says that she does acknowledge that even though she really didn't want that to be discussed, that she had to acknowledge that indeed Dr. Simone was there for her during that difficult time. And she wanted her to know that she appreciated it. And then she also wanted her to know that she did want to salvage the friendship. And Dr. Simone said that she received that. And so it appeared that they had made amends. But y'all, do y'all really think Simone's going to let her off the hook that easy? Because I don't. The way she was spitting that venom last week, child, we'll see. But to me, same with Dr. Jackie. I mean, Dr. Jackie, I think Dr. Jackie seemed to receive it better than Dr. Simone. But Dr. Simone is Team Toya, so whatever. Like I said, honey, we just got to wait and see if indeed she has forgiven Sis Quad. I highly doubt it, but we'll see. So then they reconvene. He has everybody come back to their chairs. Dr. Alicia joins the group because she was MIA in part 1. So again, my assumption is she's a friend to the show and not a full housewife as of yet. But then again, that also explains her lack of presence this season. So, okay, but she has on a beautiful dress and she joins the ladies. And Andy is just happy that, there's all this forgiveness in the air. And he does make a comment about the fact that, he's happy about that. That she seems to be making some progress with the ladies. Toya pipes in that she basically was glad to see that, friendships were being worked on. And Dr. Jackie pipes in about accountability. And y'all, I don't know. Because look, I'm not a fan of Dr. Jackie. I think that she does play nice nasty. Like I've said that before in some of these recaps. I think that they give Dr. Jackie too many passes sometimes. She gets a free pass on things. She says things and does things. And she doesn't seem to be able to take full accountability on a lot of the things that she does. If you guys remember, and like I said, I'm trying to not harp on this because I'm a true believer that once someone apologizes and you accept it, you let them be. But I just to make my point, if you guys recall when that video first surfaced, she did not initially acknowledge it in that way. It was a very nasty at first response about, not hearing the full content or it being taken out of context. And people listened to the whole live and it was indeed, that wasn't the case. And then when patients of hers came out, well, then that's when she came with the tearful video apology. So accountability sounds rich coming out of your mouth, Dr. Jackie, but okay. So basically she was like, some accountability needs to be taken and we all need to communicate better, which I agree with that. The being mad at somebody and kind of just harboring it, that's just never healthy anyway. And so, yes, I agree. The ladies definitely need better communication. And she also said that she's glad that on both sides they're all willing to work on their relationships. Okay, so then the focus goes to Sweet Tea. And they start to do the video footage going back in the season of when she first shows up on the season, the conversation about how she got into Dr. G's DMs with the baby emoji, saying that she could give him what he wanted. They show Phaedra making the comment, she seems sweet, like a sweet lamb, but she hopes she's not a wolf in sheep's clothing. Then it goes to the clip where she says, she wanted to be the fiance because it means she'll have access to the money, honey. Then it goes to a clip where Dr. Simone is asking her about her honeymoon, if they had a good honeymoon and consummated it. And she said no because of the fact that she had this excessive bleeding and pain, which then leads into her diagnosis of endometriosis and fibroids. And then they also do a quick clip about her time in the military. She's a military vet. And so they basically show her struggles and she gets teary-eyed. I feel for, okay, let me take a pause there, guys. How are y'all feeling about the season and how Sweet Tea was received? Now, I'm not going to lie, because I know a lot of you guys out there are not fans of Dr. Heavenly. I happen to be one. I think Dr. Heavenly is one of the main reasons the show is still kicking. Her lives, I love watching them. But sometimes Dr. Heavenly is very mean-spirited, and she really has gone hard on Sweet Tea. Now, we'll get into that as we continue to recap this reunion because she speaks on it. But my thoughts of Sweet Tea this season, I think she was in over her head. I think that reality TV is not for everybody. My hope for her, though, that if she does come back next season, I'm pretty sure she does. Actually, I've heard that they all got contracts. So she's been invited back for season 2. My hope is, though, that she learns how to get a tougher skin and kind of how to play her part in the group. She just, but we're going to get there. So basically, Andy asked her about her health. And then now to that, I've seen on social media, a lot of ladies were not feeling the fact that he asked her about where she was. But that was featured on the season, guys. So naturally, she's had the surgery and he wants to know how she's doing and can she, in fact, conceive. And she lets Andy know that at this point, it would take her a year of trying and unable to conceive to be considered infertile. So at this point, she's not considered infertile. So then they go and show the clip of Quad and Dr. Heavenly on Watch What Happens Live. And y'all, I don't know if y'all watched that, but they were really giving it to Sweet Tea. I mean, talk about the way the child dresses, her body, the way she talks, her intellect, her age. I mean, it just kept coming for the poor thing. I mean, child. She was accused of wearing fake labels. And they, like I said, talked about her fashion. So after they show that clip, she asked Quad, why? Why were you, if you really don't have a problem with me, why were you saying all those things? Why were you coming for me on social media? And Quad said she was not upset with Sweet Tea. She had nothing against her. I mean, okay, y'all, let's be clear. If I was on a show, and I mean, transparency, this is my second marriage, which I'm blessed, highly favored, and in love with the love of my life. This marriage is the marriage that God granted me. But I was previously married. Now, how would I be on a show with my ex-husband if he had a wife? I don't know. I mean, because you can be moved on, but human nature is human nature. I mean, would I want to kiki with her? Probably not. I don't know. I mean, he doesn't have a currently wife. He has someone that he cohabitates with. But, child, that's a story for another day. But anyway. So to be fair, Quad probably has some mean girl moments. Well, not probably. We just know she did because we watch it on Watch What Happens Live. And she's had some little comments to say during the season on her social media about Sweet Tea. But I think it comes with the territory. So, but when Sweet Tea was asking, it was something about her face. She just seems so vulnerable. And she seems like she's really been hurting from this season. She did get a lot of, bad... she's got a lot of negative backlash from Dr. Heavenly and social media at large, picked apart. But you had those that are rocking with Sweet Tea that felt like the ladies were bullies and all that little girling and all that stuff, listen, unnecessary. So I was disappointed in them for that. They sincerely did not fully embrace Sweet Tea. But if everybody got on the show and kumbaya, y'all, we wouldn't tune in. So let's be clear and let's be fair. All of us that watch these shows, we look for the storylines, the drama, the things that keep us tuning in. So not at anyone's mental health expense, but at this point, she seems to be kind of holding her own. So we'll see. She said it was at Toya asked her, or asked Quad, Toya being messy, did she think that she fit in with the group, or why did Quad say that she didn't fit in with the group? And Quad just basically responded, others have said the same, and they have. Dr. Heavenly said it. Dr. Simone has alluded to it. Dr. Jackie, come on. So Annie takes a moment then to give Sweet Tea a hot second break and says, well, Toya, how would you feel if Eugene and you divorced, God forbid, and he brought his new wife on the show? Child, Toya talking about she would be living for it. Yeah, right. She said she would know it was good for the show, and, but the difference was she'd have her hot A man right beside her. And now that part I know to be true, Toya, okay? So I'm not mad at that. You could bring your new wife, but hey, don't think I'm gonna sit over here and cry. I'm gonna have me something banging on my arm too. So what's good? Just saying. So then Sweet Tea goes on to say, Dr. Heavenly was the one that actually brought her into the group, and then she turned around and turned on her and started talking, bad about her marriage. And again, to me, it did seem like she was genuinely hurt by that. So Sweet Tea's live is shown where she's going off and talking about Damon cheating on Dr. Heavenly. And after that, the guys are in the back because they get ready to come on and do their segment. And you see Dr. Damon ask Dr. G, did he know about that? Did he know that his wife was on live saying those things? And if so, did he believe that? And Dr. G was like, I don't know what you do. And he was like, yeah, man, but do you believe that? You know me. Do you believe that? And he kind of was dancing, and Cecil was like, just answer the question, yes or no. Eventually, Dr. G relents and says no. Child, that was a moment because Dr. G was wrong for that. Now, listen, it has been alleged. I've been seeing things out there with Mariah talking now. She's starting to do recaps with Buffy. Buffy has her own YouTube channel, Auntie Buffy. Check her out. Shout out to Auntie Buffy. And they also do the recaps of the Married to Medicine. We all know that Buffy's not a fan of Dr. Jackie, which it shows in those recaps. And Mariah is on there, and they're saying that, Sweet Tea is talking about when Dr. Heavenly confided in her that when Mariah had said she had receipts on Dr. Damon cheating, that she in fact was nervous because she didn't know what she had, child. And since then, she's gone on to say on her live with Carlos King and whatever, that at this point in the game, it wouldn't even matter to her. They would work through it. One thing I love about, again, and I've said this many times, what I love about Married to Medicine is they really seem to hone in on the marriages. So people that come for people's marriages, the accusations about the husband's cheating, some of them have. Curtis. But that's dangerous. That's dangerous to a family. Dr. Damon is a sound guy. Child, I don't know whether he has or he hasn't, but he certainly presents himself well always. Dr. Heavenly, in all her foolishness, has the utmost respect for her husband. I don't like stuff like that. And actually, I don't play like that. So, I don't think that anybody, should come for the husbands. But, they do that kind of stuff. But I don't think it's right. Because it's not just the husbands. There's children involved, at least on Dr. Heavenly's side. And that was no shade, guys. I'm not shading Sweet Tea, okay? No, because I sincerely pray that woman is able to conceive and give Dr. G the baby that he so much wants and she so much wants to give him. Anyway, moving on. Dr. Heavenly talks about how she says that Dr. G is controlling and that she got that information directly from Sweet Tea saying that, and that was the infamous night where Dr. Heavenly had taken Sweet Tea out and Sweet Tea alleges that she got her drunk to get her talking. And then she says that Quad wasn't wrong about Dr. G. Dr. G is controlling. And Dr. Heavenly said that she tried to take her under her wing and help her out by getting her enrolled in Dr. Heavenly's university. And she wanted to give her that information because she wanted her to be like Quad, to like, not that, and because Annie's like, well, did Quad go to Heavenly's university? And she said no, but Quad was good with her money and invested. She stacked her money so that when things didn't work out, she was able to move a different way. And she was trying to get Sweet Tea to be smart and do the same. Start her own business, start, putting money aside, investing her money, and just being a sound businesswoman. So if in the event it doesn't work out, she has options. I'm not mad at that, guys. I'm not mad at that. But it's the intent behind it is where it could get, it's the intention behind it. If she sincerely was trying to, from an older woman's perspective to a younger woman's perspective, to give her some wisdom about making sure that she took care of herself and that she was a smart businesswoman and that she always made sure she had something of her own, I'm not mad at that because I am a believer in that. And that I advocate for all the time. We should be good in money, invest our money, make our money grow, be entrepreneurs, invest in ourselves. You can be a good wife, but you can have something for yourself, and that's okay. So I can pick up what she was putting down there. Now, Sweet Tea asked why she lied about her saying that she knew ahead of time that she couldn't conceive. And she said that, nope. She said, well, before that, they go to break, but they come back and Heavenly says that it wasn't that she was saying that she was lying. She said that she was asked the question, did she think that she knew ahead of time that she couldn't conceive? And she said, well, if it was me and I was having the issues that Sweet Tea was having, meaning the pain and the excessive bleeding, that I would have done enough research that I would have gone to my doctor and asked to be tested, to be given a diagnosis. I don't have much to say on that other than I don't think that as women we should speak on each other's health issues. Everybody's different. Sweet Tea is 32 years old. She may have thought, that's not for any of us to say. Everybody's different. Everybody's body is different. So I didn't care for that comment from Dr. Heavenly. And quite as it's kept, after she says it, Dr. Jackie kind of comes through and like on Dr. Heavenly and says, no, it actually takes a woman 8 to 12 years to be properly diagnosed with endometriosis. And sometimes longer for Black women because we are, a lot of times, we don't complain about pain. We take it, so, or assume that, it's just part of being a woman because, So after that, y'all, it kind of got nasty. Like Sweet Tea and Dr. Heavenly just went back and forth and you could just see the anger and the venom. And I thought about it. So as I'm watching, because y'all know, I like Dr. Heavenly. She's entertaining and she's funny, but I'm going to have to look at it sometimes this way. Truth be told, I'm a 50-year-old woman. Dr. Heavenly is 53. I couldn't see myself doing that with a 32-year-old woman. And so let me not lie. Now, it depends on what the 32-year-old woman did to me. Like, if she was constantly coming for me, whatever. But we all know that it was a mutual back and forth thing. Dr. Heavenly had said some very nasty things about Sweet Tea. And she continued to on her live. So, to be fair, you're 53. She's 32. It got ugly. And so finally, Andy puts a pause on that, and we, like I said, Dr. Alicia makes herself, enters the stage on this part of the reunion. Love her dress, like I said. And so then we get our sweet tea, Dr. Heavenly, and Andy asks how was her first season. And she said she likened it to working in a psych ward. She said there would be days where people are smiling and laughing. And then there are days where there's nothing but a lot of yelling, screaming, and crazy. So, probably accurate. Sounds about right. And then they go off to the Napa Valley trip. And, you know, they talked about how this was a tense for Toya. They were going to Napa Valley. And Quad speaks up and says she did not like how she was portrayed to be such a negative and toxic person, or because she considered herself to be very positive. And they admit, well, yeah, you can be when you want to. And so Andy goes back to Dr. Alicia, and he asks her about Dr. Kema's judgment on American women. And one thing about Dr. Alicia, I will say, honey, she got her man back. She does. I mean, I think she's a strong woman, so the ideas that Dr. Kema runs her or has her trained is his mess. I don't get any of that from her at all. When she speaks, she don't take no mess. But I think that she is okay with allowing him to lead, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I, too, think it's okay to let a man lead. I'm a strong woman, honey. Strong. But I don't mind letting my man lead. As long as he's leading right. And if you can't do it, I surely can. And I feel like I get the same energy from Dr. Alicia. So Toya said that the women did support her. They go back over to Toya, and she said all the women supported her with her wine club venture. And then Andy asked Dr. Heavenly about her criticism of Toya. And Dr. Heavenly is like, well, and he said, you know, you said she never worked a day in her life and she was lazy. Dr. Heavenly's like, well, I take it back. Half of it anyway. Because you know how Dr. Heavenly, I don't know if you guys watch her lives. She's now off of doing it on YouTube, guys. She's on Patreon. So if you want to watch her, you can find her on Patreon. Shout out to Dr. Heavenly. But she says, I'm going to take back the never worked in the life because Toya has worked before. But he was like, okay, well, you're not going to take back the lazy? She's like, no, Toya's lazy. And they go to the throwback clips. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. And so Toya's like, I'm not lazy. And Toya's basically just saying, like, I just make this lifestyle look easy. I'm not mad, Toya. You know, they always say that Toya is the quintessential married to medicine wife. She is a doctor's wife. She gets to live a life of leisure and luxury. And I think that's part of what they want to portray on this show. You have your doctors and doctors' wives. And a doctor's wife that, you know, made the choice to stay home and raise their children and take care of the house and live her life. And you can't be mad at that. I mean, that's her life. She wants to live it. Dr. Eugene provides it. That's what they do, and that's all. I'm not mad. I'm not mad at all, child. Keep going, Toya. So then, you know, because I told you guys, because they're at 10 years, they keep doing the throwbacks. So they did a throwback clip of Dr. Simone and her boys. And then they did one with Dr. Heavenly and her family. And Alora is small. And she's talking about, you know, that she, you know, is on a journey to lose some weight. And she was like, you know, people are saying I used to be fat. She's like, oh, baby, do you think I was fat? And Alora was like, yeah. She's like, when I hugged, couldn't get my arms around you. Y'all, that was so cute. Alora and Michael and Miles, you know, they've grown up right before our eyes. 10 years, watch their kids grow, watch them grow as reality personalities, watching their professions, their practices grow, their marriages, their interactions as friends. It's been really cool to watch. So I'm enjoying the clips of the throwbacks. I don't know if you guys are. Some people say it's annoying, but I think you got to give it to them, guys. 10 years. Because a lot of shows don't make it to that. Bravo is quick to nix you if the ratings aren't there. But good job, Married to Medicine. 10 years, that's something to be celebrated. So then Andy comes back and he wants to know, ask Dr. Simone, how are Miles and Michael doing? And she says, you know, they're doing good. And he was like, are they still staying in the place for free? She said, he was like, yeah. She said, Miles has 1 more year free and Michael has 2. And that was their agreement because that's why they're still in college. She was going to let them stay. You know, they purchased that condo to have the boys have their own space while they're in school. And then they have to pay rent if they're going to stay there. And or, I mean, it's a good investment. That's real estate, baby. I'm not mad at that. And then Andy asked Toya if the boys are embarrassed by some of her... y'all know Toya is who Toya is. They go to the scene when she's packing to go on their trip. And Dr. Jean's like, get out of her suitcase before you see something that you don't want to see. And it's Ashley and Avery. It was Ashley that said, oh, what do you mean? Like, you know, he's insinuating that it might be like tampons or pads. And Avery's like, nah, probably a vibrator. And it's funny because Andy's like, well, wonder where Avery gets his mouth from. And Toya laughs and she says, yeah, you know, Avery's a lot like her. And so, again, it's cute to see those boys grow up. I mean, it's just cute to see all their kids grow up right before our eyes. So, while they're talking about Avery, Quad tells a cute story about when her and Toya were actually friends. And she actually phrased it that way, y'all. About how she was holding Avery close and he unzips her blouse because he wanted to see her boobs. And Toya laughed and says, yeah, you know, he's like that, but one day he's going to be a doctor. So that was a cute little moment. And so then they go back to Dr. Simone and she says that she talks about how her and Cecil have come to the place where they get to parent their boys the way they want to. And they parent them differently. And meaning that it appears that Cecil wants to be more of their friend, whereas in Dr. Simone, more of the get your life together, have a plan, and please get on with your life. We're going to set you up for success, though. And I love that. And I told you, you know, we particularly, if we have it, give our kids a start. You know, I am all for, and I have done, taking my kids to where I can get them to try to lead them down the road of success. Now, it's up to them whether they do it, but I can lay my head down at night and be at peace because I have done everything I could to sacrifice to make sure that they have had the opportunities to be set up for success. So I'm not mad at Dr. Simone and Cecil for setting those boys up, or any of them, because Dr. Heavenly talks all the time about her and Dr. Damon arguing sometimes about them doing too much for their kids. It's this recurring theme. I don't know, guys. Parents out there, weigh in the comments. What do you think? You know, do you think that it's helpful or hurtful to, I mean, okay. I acknowledge that there's a level of where you go from being helpful to enabling, right? But put in the comments, what do you guys think? Do you think that Dr. Simone and Cecil are being helpful to the boys by doing this? Or you think they're spoiling them? Put it in the comments. Let me know what you think. Let's talk about it. So then Dr. Jackie talks about, you know, because Annie was like, so, because when Alora has gone off to college, one of the things they said was, you know, Dr. Jackie was going to be in touch. They have conversations that Dr. Heavenly is not privy to. And she's okay with that because, you know, her and Jackie are BFFs. And she trusts Jackie with her daughter. So Andy asked, has Alora called her? And she says, yep, she's called her many times. And then he was like, well, what do y'all talk about? And Dr. Jackie's like, That's HIPAA. Good for you, Dr. Jackie. I mean, listen, young ladies, you need a good auntie, particularly an auntie that's an OBGYN. Yes. So good. That's good that she has her, because it truly takes a village, you guys. So then we go to the conversation that everybody's been talking about. When everybody saw that can of Ifamil in Dr. Heavenly's kitchen, child, everybody speculate they trying to give Dr. Heavenly a grandchild. Child, her boys are grown. I mean, Cena Laura, so we know she ain't had no baby. If the boys got somebody pregnant, who would care? I mean, like, do they really think that they would keep that secret? I don't know. But then, her response to the question about the Enfamil sounded kind of foolish. But who am I? Who am I, child? They are doctors. She said that the reason they had Enfamil in the kitchen is Dr. Damon is allergic to milk. And so he uses it to put in his cereal. Okay. Child, they got soy milk, almond milk, oatmeal milk. Shall I go on? But if he likes it, I love it. Anywho, so then we go on to Dr. Heavenly saying Sweet Tea's comment about her mama being in hell actually was a good thing, because as a result, her sister definitely reached out to her. I'm sure she was equally as angry as Dr. Heavenly. That was kind of foul. But I mean, there was a multitude of things firing back and forth. She shouldn't have said it though. You don't speak on somebody's mama that's passed on. That's crazy. But she thanked Sweet Tea and said that because of that, her sister and her have been in communication regularly. And Andy was like, do you guys talk every day? She said, we talk, text. So she said, thank you. And you see Sweet Tea just kind of give her the look like, clearly, y'all, we're going to see more between the two of them, because, honey, it is spicing up, child. They are ready to go at each other. So at this point, we go over to the husbands. They hit the stage. So, and the ladies are backstage, back in their dressing rooms, child, watching. And Andy asked Dr. G about the $4,000 a month that supposedly Phaedra had asked him for while they were dating or hanging out or whatever it is they was doing, honey. And Dr. G says she did ask for it. And he asked if anything had happened between them. And he said, not in real life. Guys, really? The ladies are in the back watching, and they're like, ooh, you see Phaedra, oh, Lord. And they're like, not in real life, like, in his mind? Like, child, but that's what he meant. Listen, so then when the ladies react, and then they do a flashback on Dr. Simone and his friend Tammy, or on Cecil's friend Tammy. That's a thing too, child. They almost broke up because he was really close to this friend named Tammy that he golfed with. So Andy asked Cecil if he's heard from Tammy, and he says no. And Curtis offers up his struggles that he'd been through. Because, okay, let me back up. So when he asked about had he heard from Tammy, Cecil says no. And he doesn't go into it too much, but I have heard on social media that they were all really close. So when he dropped her, he also lost a group of his buddies that he golfed with. So it was quite the loss. And he actually speaks at it and linked in an interview with Carlos King. I have not watched that yet, but I'm going to watch that. And I may come back on, guys, and kind of add that into my content when I do part 3 of the reunion. It's starting to get some weight, and so I do want to see what the guys have to say. It's Dr. Eugene, and it's Cecil, and he's interviewing them. So I'm gonna check it out, and I'll let you guys know what's up with it. I'll come back and talk about that also. But yeah, Curtis jumps in there and says, "Okay, guys, yeah, I've definitely, like, in other words, I guess he was trying to hurry up before Andy asked him something crazy, because he's been conveniently in the DR all season." Putting some kind of development together, child. So he hurries up and jumps in there. Yeah, you know, I've had my struggles. I've had my stuff. But the one thing about it, honey, I've learned from it. So then they flash back to the men and talking with Dr. Kema. So this is like Dr. Kema's intro when he's saying the comments about he's refusing to have his nutsack cut off. And that the comment about his wife being well trained. And then they go back to Dr. G's bachelor party where there's all those strippers, and he basically invites the stripper to his wedding. The child looked crazy, but we've already talked about that. Couldn't have been mine, but you know, it was a bachelor party. Things get wild. They were drinking. Listen. So then Andy asked Dr. G about inviting the stripper to the wedding. And he said he didn't really mean she could come. It was a hypothetical invitation. Whatever that means. He didn't actually expect her to show up, y'all. I'm sure he didn't. Sweet tea, baby. Then they talk about the cocaine dildo story that Dr. Eugene told. And he told that when they were on their trip, they were all in the Sprinter van, and they were talking, and he was talking about how it was during his time in medical school. It was an individual that passed away from an overdose from putting cocaine on a dildo and inserting it. Well, it was a male, so you can do the math. I'm not into that. But then Andy was like, was it because of the size of the dildo or was it the cocaine? Of course it was the cocaine, Andy. Questions. So then he asked Dr. Damon how he's doing since the Lord's been in school. Y'all, that was so cute. You can see him get like, I don't want to talk about it. He's emotional. And he said, you know, it was different when the boys went away, but something about when his little girl went away, he just really misses her. And that was just indicative to how close they were. That was so cute, y'all. So then Dr. G says they should worry less about what the ladies say about sweet tea and more about lying. Oh, no, I'm looking at that wrong. It was said to Dr. G he should worry less about what the ladies say about sweet tea and more about lying about robbers breaking into their house, which he apologized for. He basically said that he was trying to convey to Sweet Tea how unsafe it was to not leave the house secured or leave the security system on. And so he fabricated that whole story about robbers breaking in their house, child, had her all scared and upset, and he was lying. Dr. G, y'all, he's a mess, but okay, I'm going to leave that alone for right now. And then Andy went on to ask Dr. Eugene about, you know, when he took Toya on the date where he'd taken her to what she says was like a butcher place for meat when it was actually a restaurant. He had bought the place out for the night so they could have a private dinner. And then, you know, and he was saying that, you know, how did he feel that Toya didn't appreciate it? He said, you know, he was okay with it or whatever, and that, you know, it didn't really, Dr. Eugene's going to have Toya's back regardless, child. And, you know, he didn't seem fazed at all. And Dr. Damon was like, you know, look, I fell in love with Dr. Heavenly over some pizza. And he said once they hung out, ate pizza, and once he felt her skin on her body, it was a wrap. And then you see the ladies in the back in the dressing room. You see Heavenly like, and the ladies are like, okay now. That's sweet, honey. Dr. Damon loves Dr. Heavenly too. I love it. And then Dr. Kema spoke in his comments saying he will not compromise on happiness and happy life, happy wife. So what he meant by that was, you know, we have the saying here. Excuse me, guys. Hold on. Sorry. A little water. Said that when he had said the thing about he wouldn't have his nutsack cut off, that he refused to, that he was like debunking, you know how we always say here, happy life, happy wife. He was saying that, you know, he did not want to somehow impede upon his own happiness for the sake of always giving in and being all about his wife. Like, it should be equal. And so when he's saying that, you know, the men need to step up and own their own happiness and fight for it too. And it just shouldn't be about, like, you know, the wife always, that they should also remember themselves. I'll give him some of that. And then Dr. Eugene speaks up about Dr. Kema's comment with him saying that, and, you know, it bothered him the most, but let's be clear, like they say, y'all, a hit dog will holler. So when he talked about the nutsack being cut off, Dr. Eugene felt some kind of way, because Toya be running him. Toya be making him jump through hoops for her. And listen, I'm not in their house. I'm sure she does something for Eugene. But anyways, y'all. So then Dr. Kema was in the hot seat, honey, about the comment he said, you know, about his culture, about the training comment. And he said it was his culture. He said it was a joke. And that he came with it playfully. And I don't think, or he didn't mean it in the sense that he understood you can't train a woman. But he said it off too many times for my taste. But we don't let him have it. And then they asked him also, was he joking about the oral sex comment? And he said, oh, no. That he was Jamaican. In Jamaican culture, it is frowned upon. And that even if you did it, you lied about it. So no, that's just not something he was into. Okay. Then Dr. G, we go back to him, and Andy asks if he has issues with seeing Miss Quad. And he says yes. And he says he's moved forward with his life. He just doesn't want to be around his ex-wife. That's fair. I mean, everybody wants to say that he can't be around her because he still wants her. I even kind of alluded that on my last episode, recapping Reunion Part 1. I don't know. It's a new marriage. It puts him in a weird position. So I'm gonna say it like Dr. Emily and take it back. I don't know if that's true. Maybe he just wants to focus on his new marriage. It's complicated being around your ex, particularly with everything being so fresh. So I don't know. So then they talk about this other chair that's mysteriously there. And because those ladies come back to the stage, they were like, Quad, did you bring somebody? And she was like, mm-mm. And you see the stage, or the scene ends with Apollo getting ready to enter the stage, looking oh so good, y'all. Now, he gets into some of the things that Phaedra lied on him about. He's coming with the tea, child. All the stuff that Phaedra didn't give, Apollo was giving it on Part 3. And we'll get more into in Part 3, I think, the Hilton Head situation with Dr. Simone and Jackie. So, more to come. Part 2 of Reunion was certainly better than Part 1. We got into some more things. I enjoyed it, and I'm here for Part 3. So I'll be back next Monday to recap that. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in. If you would, please, again, if you like the content, hit the like. Go ahead, and if you really like what we're doing here, because we do reality shows, we do all kind of reality shows. We do Love is Blind, Married to Medicine. We do Married at First Sight. We're going to be adding more to the list, and we also do a pop culture segment on the weekends. So guys, make sure you come back, hit the subscribe button, and hit that notification bell. That's important, so you'll know when we drop new content. So thank you guys so much. And to those of you that are already our subscribers, our actualizers, thank you so, so much. And keep sharing with your family and friends. Guys, we are so close to our 2,000 subscribers. Just, keep sharing, guys. It's so exciting. Thank you so much for your support. You have a great day. We'll see you back on Thursday. Bye, guys.